After Frank left the coffee shop, he went back to the back alley behind the dumpster so that no one could see him, besides me, of course, and this time did something even more shocking than becoming a wormhole extending from the Calachassi forest to the Higher Falls coffee shop. This time, Frank began emanating a pink light from his heart. It enveloped him completely, creating an orb-like sphere around his body. I wasn't sure if I should do this, but I hovered slightly closer, entangling with the orb of pink light. In one dizzying moment, we found ourselves standing in the exact spot Bruin originally landed in Camelot. "Frank!" I shouted. I looked down and saw myself in human form. Naked. Frank's eyes widened as he took off his coat and wrapped it around me. "Who are you and how do you know my name?" Frank asked me. I... Halt! Who goeth there?" boomed a loud voice from behind metal armor as Sir Gawain came marching towards them, hand on sword still in holster. I was freaked all the way out. I'm supposed to be an amorphous mist, and somehow Frank's portal creation blew my mysterious cover. Frank's jacket barely covered my bottom half. I was like nearly Winnie the Poohing when Gawain comes over. "Gawain, is that you?" I asked. He lifted his mask. "How dost thou knowest my name, mysterious stranger?" Hi, Sheesh. My social skills over in our human world are like already hovering above a 0 on a scale of 0 to 1,000, so imagine me naked in Camelot with a shape-shifting sapsucker and a knight who has no clue I've been spying on him as an amorphous mist. God, sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, you and I were from the same universe, right? But I haven't been entirely honest with you about who I am. I can't be, not yet. But I will say my, form of God is named Cheetah. Perhaps in the past I've used language to fit in with you, but I can't right now. My mask is falling all the way off in every single storyline. Everyone in Camelot sees me. You might as well too. Anyway, I was saved by a velvety violet smoke that appeared directly in the center of myself, Sir Gawain, and Frank. As the smoke cleared, Merlin bowed in mine and Frank's direction.
"Frank, Toasty, I've been expecting ye."
"Toasty!" exclaimed Frank, eyeing me in confusion, still in his Kevin body. Merlin turned to Gawain.
"Alas, dear knight, 'tis but a bit of magic gone awry. Allow us me to taketh them both to my quarters. 'Twill all make sense by sunrise,"
Merlin said. Gawain clearly seemed confused, but bowed and retreated. In a puff of violet smoke, Frank and I were transported to Merlin's home, where he waved his hand and 3 cozy chairs appeared at a small round table before the roaring fireplace. A robot vacuum was cleaning the floor. Merlin waved his hand and shut it off.
"Ah, 'tis our time,"
Merlin said, as he poured a glass of wine for each of us, bottle and glasses all appearing with a wave of the hand. "I'm sorry, Merlin, is it?" Frank had had enough. With Frank's background and memory coming clearer every day, he remembered he was someone who needed not fear anything. Meanwhile, I was a trembling mess. It's one thing to just observe Camelot. It's another to be physically manifested wearing nothing but a coat. As if Merlin heard my thoughts, he waved his hand, and I suddenly was in a gown covered in a thick velvet robe, a lot like his own. Thanks, Merlin," I said. He bowed. God, what am I supposed to do here? I was lost, but I just kept taking it all in.
"Frank, thou dost not remember me yet?"
Merlin tilted his head and gazed deeply into Frank's eyes. There was a swirling vortex of green light connecting Merlin and Frank by the gaze of their eyes for just a moment. And Frank started laughing. "Merlin!" Frank stood up with a joyous expression. Merlin stood up too, and they embraced. "I never thought I'd see you again," Frank said, becoming teary-eyed.
"I always knew thou would,"
Merlin replied, as they touched foreheads for a moment and both took a deep breath. I joined them in a deep breath from my little spot at the table, and then took a sip of wine. But as I swallowed, I guess I swallowed the wrong way or something, and I started choking. "I'm fine, I coughed. They both sat back down, Frank eyeing me curiously. Okay, but what is this thing doing here? Thing? I said. I'm Toasty. I'm a human just as much as you are. Well, that's not saying much. Even more reason not to trust this one.
Frank, dost thou remember the day I invented ye? 'Twas a tremendous time for Camelot and for Wharf.
Wait, what? Merlin invented shape shifting sapsuckers? That doesn't make any sense. They've been around on the planet Wharf for millennia, like multiple thousands of years. But then again, I guess I never understood how time in Camelot works. I only visited this place a few other times and gathered very little intel on each trip. I never really took my visits there all that seriously, let alone my visits anywhere. Did Merlin know I was there every time I visited? I'm so confused right now,
Ay, littlest one,
Merlin said to me, as if reading my mind.
thou dost remember the day I invented thee.
Me? What? How could you invent me? I was born to human parents on the planet known as Earth in an alternate universe. You and I have never met in our entire lives. Merlin did the same eye stare thing that he did with Frank just a minute ago, but all it did was make me dizzy and start crying. I want to go home. I don't want to be here. I'm sorry I spied. I'm so sorry I've been watching you as this amorphous mist of light thing. I just wanted to entertain people back home. I wanted to make my friends laugh. I didn't. Merlin seemed perplexed as to why the eye stare didn't work, and I didn't understand why, but he turned to Frank to explain things about myself, letting me kind of just trail off and cry. And I didn't even know anything about what he was about to say being true. I still don't think it is.
Toasty once worked for us many moons ago. They took us the place of a human known as Marshka on planet known as Earth. They have us been, like as thou, Frank, in a deep forgetting of their true form.
My true form. Merlin waved a hand and froze me for a moment. I could feel myself wanting to speak and wanting to move, but being unable to, as it appeared as though he and Frank were sharing some telepathic messages with each other. I watched them sort of stare deeply at each other, and then one would nod, and then the other would nod, and it was like they were having a conversation. And then Frank eventually out loud said, "Ah, I see." And with that, Merlin waved his hand and I unfroze. But inside, I was still frozen with fright. If Merlin could do that to me, what else was possible? Why does he think he invented me? He shouldn't even know who I am. Could he see me as an amorphous mist of light every time I visited? I thought I was invisible to everyone except for maybe Bruin. Bruin! I shouted.